Hi guys, it's Connie here from Say It With Simplicity, and today I wanted to take you through creating this poinsettia in Silhouette Studio, and it's really super easy, a lot easier than it looks. And I know it's a little early. I mean, I'm recording this at the beginning of October here, but I have a craft fair coming up like the first weekend in November. And I thought, probably other people do too. And, I thought this would be just a neat way to start thinking about some of those Christmas projects before, time slips away on us. And, I thought this would be a fun one to do. It's kind of colorful here and kind of gets me a little bit more motivated to work on some of these things myself. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I've been doing Silhouette Studio tutorials for a while, and my most popular video so far has been how to draw a heart in Silhouette Studio, which has kind of become the #1 video and is where most of my YouTube traffic has been coming from. And it's a way that, I never saw any other video. It was something that I just, figured out on my own. And, so don't be afraid to, goof around with some of these things in your Silhouette Studio. You aren't going to break anything by manipulating a few points, and if it doesn't work out, you can always hit the undo button. It's kind of gotten to the point where I don't mean to really be overly funny, because I'm probably not, but I've done things around the house before, and it's like I wish I could just hit the undo button all the time. It would be so much easier if we could do that, right? Painted that room a color and it just wasn't quite what we were thinking, hit the undo button. But in all seriousness, some of this stuff is not that difficult, and my whole mission here is to help people to use their Silhouette Studio software and get the most out of it. And it is a very powerful software. I work in Adobe Illustrator sometimes, and I really love the Adobe Illustrator software. I do a few things in Inkscape, but I spend a lot of time in Silhouette Studio, and it is like my favorite. I you know I can't say enough about it. I get really excited about it. But I have to admit that when I was new to this, all of this stuff over here was just so foreign that I couldn't even imagine it. It took me a long time to figure some of it out, and actually my son, who's a mechanical designer, helped me with some of the stuff that the center of rotation tool. I had no idea. He actually was the one who figured out how to shut it off for me. And so it's one of those things that the more you use it and the more you learn, the more fun you are going to have creating with it. And there's going to be some things that you're going to be able to make that you would have never thought possible. So with that, I wanted to do this poinsettia tutorial for you, and I hope that you'll stick around and watch it, because it's really a lot easier than it looks. And if you've watched some of my other tutorials that, where you use the point editing and the replicate panel and things like that, then, it's really going to be easy. And a little math here and there, and we're going to have this thing done in no time. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw an ellipse. So let's do that. And size isn't going to matter all that much. I'm just going to put it over here for my view. And when you double click on this shape, that brings up the point editing panel. And now I'm going to click that top point, and I'm going to hit the corner button. See, this seesaws a lot when you You know, if I hit corner, then I can drag these handles in to the center one at a time, and it just makes it a little bit easier. If I do this, sometimes it gets a little bit shaky, but you can do it without the corner button. But yeah, you get them twisted a little bit here, and you might have a wonky cut there. But that's kind of the essence of it. Now, that center of rotation thing, we can close this, is really handy for making this. So we're going to hit the O button on our keyboard, and that brings up that center of rotation tool. If this is really annoying and you don't know how to turn it off, that O key turns that off and on, like really super duper easy. You can also go to your settings panel, and you can go to let's see, no, defaults, center of rotation right here, and you can uncheck that, but that's another place that you can turn that off and on. So you know, in your help menu, you can pull up your user manual, and there's a search function in there, and you can go to keyboard shortcuts, and it will show you all the keyboard shortcuts for Silhouette Studio, I think, or most of them probably. But you know, when I discovered the one for the center of rotation thing, which was really recently, it was really helpful to me to learn that all I had to do was press the O and boom, it was there or not there. Okay, so now, you know, I did a 6-petal flower over here. Actually, poinsettias don't have petals per se at all. You could probably do a little research on that yourself, but you know, I kind of did some of that and trying to figure out, you know, how many leaves or petals should I make on my poinsettia, and you know, didn't really come up with a definitive answer. So you know, let's do 5. Okay, so here's where the math comes in just a second, but I'm going to pull this center of rotation button down towards the bottom of my shape here, and I'm going to go to my replicate panel, and maybe I'll just move it over here. And let's go to the advanced replicate. Okay, I questioned myself there for a second, excuse me, but maybe I haven't had enough coffee yet. So if I'm going to do 5 copies of this leaf, I want to use, if I want to have 5 leaves, I'm going to do 4 copies. Does that make sense? Okay. And if I'm going to do a little bit of math, and I want to rotate these, and you think about a perfect circle being the 360 degrees, each of those is going to be 72 degrees. So, you know, 360 divided by 5 is going to be 72 degrees. And I'm going to replicate that. And that's going to give me those evenly distributed around that center of rotation. So now, if I weld these, I have my petals all evenly distributed. I might not have had that perfectly centered down at the bottom of my thing, but you get the idea. You have that. Now, you know, the rest is kind of easy. You could do a 3-petal around the top of that. You could, you know, do it however you wanted to. Like I said here, let's ungroup that. Oops. ungroup. Here I did a 6 one and a couple of 3 ones. And it would work the same way. I mean, if you wanted to do a 3 one, you'd do 2 copies. Each of them would be 120 degrees. So that would be what you'd enter into your replicate panel. And now, let's do this. Let's copy. Let's paste in front. And I'm going to try to move this center of rotation. Is maybe already in the center. But if I rotate this, you can kind of see what this would look like if I layered this, say cutting it out on paper. Let's color it red. And so that's kind of cool looking, right? And if I took one of these and I clicked copy, paste in front, and let's make it larger and color it green. And now let's right click and send to back, and you can rotate it wherever you want, and that could be your back leaves. And so you're kind of starting to set up this file now where you'd have a cut file for your poinsettia. Now, the way that I got this little center thing here was to just draw a rectangle. And I'm going to make this kind of bigger so you can see it. And I held down my shift key to make a perfect circle that would fit on the top of here. And let's center that and weld them. Okay, and so you can see that that creates that. Now I'm going to move my center of rotation down on that, and I'm going to go to my replicate panel again and go to my advanced, and I wanted 8 of those, so let's do 7. And if I do the math on that, I think if I remember right, it's 45 degrees. And I replicate, and now I have my little star shape that goes in the middle here, and I don't want to include my poinsettia in that. I can click on weld, and let's color that yellow, and now I have my little cut file thing. If I sent that to, you can see these different layers. Okay, of my poinsettia, and I can resize this, and I don't want that center of rotation, so I'm going to hit my O, and I'm going to place that in the middle here. And let's just zoom in there and we can kind of see what that's going to look like. And now, wouldn't that make a really cute package topper, or, you know, depending on how small you want to cut that out. This is like almost 5 inches. But totally make that small to put like on a card or something, you know, tag. So there you have it. That's how I created that poinsettia in Silhouette Studio. If you like this tutorial, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I hope that you'll do that. And as I create more and more content for my channel, you'll be notified when a new video comes out. So Thanks for stopping by today. I'm glad that we could spend this time together creating something in our Silhouette studio. And you have yourselves a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.